Hey, what's up everyone? Morey Croson here, and today we're going to be going over the weight shift when throwing the football. We're going to start the video right now. This is the newest edition of the Performance Lab.
Reach your individual goals.
You don't want to just talk about straight line speed. We also want to talk about your ability to be quick. We break down your video.
Let's make you into the quarterback I know you can become.
All right, so this was a recommendation actually, and I think it's a great topic and something that is really beneficial for quarterbacks when you're able to implement it correctly. And so what we're thinking about here is, as we are going through the throw, where should the weight distribution be as we go through, the load, right? And then continuing on through the finish. Now, everyone's going to be a little bit different here, okay? So you don't want to go exactly like how I am, but this is a good way to provide some degree of a understanding of where around we should be from a weight shift perspective, right? So as we're starting off here, loading into that back leg, and we're taking that step with that front foot, right? So we're getting into this position. Typically, what I would say was like a 60-40 distribution between that back leg and that front foot. Now, as time has gone, it almost seems like there's a time period. So right now, I'm about 50-50, right? I'm 50-50 from my right to my left the best I can. And when the first action, so when I first kind of sink down, especially when I'm throwing the ball deep, I really want to be pushing down through the balls of my feet. So it almost wants to think about like, the max that you possibly can in this right foot. Okay, and so if we're going to look at that, the weight distribution is 50-50, and then as I initiate going forward here and want to really start loading into that back hip, I want to go 100%, right? That first action should be 100% into this back leg, right? And then as I initiate that push and start to rotate here, now the weight distribution is going to start coming forward, right? So there's like as hard amount of push as I can to that back leg, right? And then as I step with this front foot, because I'm going here and I'm taking the step at the same time, right? So it's 100% distribution, and then, we're going and taking the step. So now it wants to be, about 60-40, maybe 55-45, right? There doesn't want to necessarily be a huge amount of difference between where I'm at with my back leg and, my front foot. Now, I do want my upper body to kind of be back, right? But I'm just kind of getting a gauge of where I feel more of my pressure within my foot. Now, again, I want to say probably about 55 in that back leg, about 45 in the front leg, right? So I'm stepping here, getting as much as I can, going from 100, now to here, maybe 60-40, 55-45, right? And then what's happening here, right, I'm going to be in about, this position now, and all of my weight really wants to be on my big toe and really on my heel here, okay? And we could be different set up in terms of, where we have, more of the weight distribution on the inside or the outside based off of where the toe position is, right? But I do want to be a little bit more into the heel there. And, especially on this side, I want to have more of my weight on the inside, okay? Because I'm really turning that heel, right? So it's like 80% of the weight on the inside part of the foot, 90% of the weight on the inside part of the foot. On the left side, I'm pretty well distributed. I'm not really inside, outside, anything like that, right? And then as I'm transitioning forward, I'm transitioning my weight all the way through, right? So you want to think of it as like a slow trajectory. So if I'm at 60-40 here, we'd want to go from 59, 58, 57, 55, all the way 50, 45, 40 as I'm transitioning through, right? So I'm going in, I'm transitioning my weight forward, and there's a transition from 60% of my weight here to getting 100% onto my left leg, right? Or 40% here, right? And getting all of this weight onto that right foot. And that is what ends up driving you through the throw, is getting all of that weight here, right? And that's going to end up being able to pull yourself through. Now, we also want to be thinking about the elbow. We also want to think about the wrist flick. We also want to be thinking about, the front arm position, or, getting an understanding of where those should be, right? You don't necessarily need to be thinking about all those parts of the throw as you're going through the throw. It's going to be impossible to think about all that different stuff. But if you can go and watch yourself, right, or when you do the breakdowns and we're able to see, what are the things that we need to improve on, we can start to isolate, okay, as I'm getting that weight distribution, I need to be pulling my front arm, for instance, or I need to get my wrist on top, right? And then as we can start to get better, and like we talked about in the last video, we want to be able to compartmentalize things a little bit better to be able to better grasp the information and really be able to feel what it is that we need to improve. But that was just a good, base of being able to understand how we want to be utilizing the ground force, right, and pushing down into the ground to be able to make it so we can throw the ball further. All right? So as always, guys, thanks for watching. If you have any questions, you can go ahead and leave those down in the comments below. Like the video, subscribe to the channel. We're going to keep on producing videos just like this that will help you in improving as a quarterback. We really want to make sure that you're able to understand all the parts that go into being a great quarterback. And there's a lot of things, right? And there's a lot of things to potentially improve on, which is really why we want to do the breakdowns, right? Because once you can start to break it all down, right, I do all these videos to make it so you can get a better understanding of the concepts, better understanding of the information. I can send these to the guys that are in the program too. But if you don't really understand what are the big things that you need to work on and really get the coaching and, again, the understanding or the clarity behind it, it becomes a lot more difficult to be able to see continued progress, right? Continued change. There's going to be times where you can make it. I know a lot of you guys are watching these videos and getting a lot better, and I always appreciate the comments. I always appreciate you guys reaching out and telling me, how much you guys have improved. I think that's great. Keep watching. If you can't afford the program yet, or you can't get into, Quarterback University or anything like that, just keep on, giving us the likes, giving us a thumbs up, giving us the comments. That makes a big impact. I'm going to try to get some merch here in the next couple months to make it so you guys can maybe get that and be able to support that in your local high school or 7-on-7s, whatever the case may be. But yeah, if you guys can get into the program and be able to get breakdowns, you're only going to be able to expedite the whole process, make it so you can just get that much more improvement that much faster. So of course that's a big recommendation of mine because I see the results, I see the improvement, and so I want you guys to be able to be a part of that as well. So as always, guys, thanks for watching here. Again, like, subscribe, comment. That all makes a big impact here for continuing to be able to grow the channel.